Hey, it's me, Gracie Marie, and this is every movie I watched in January. I know we're already halfway through February, but this month is flying by, and this is the only time I've had to record this video. The first movie that I watched in January... What even was that? What was that word? The first movie that I watched in January was Amber Alert. The movie Amber Alert is about a woman who calls an Uber driver, and while she's driving to a business meeting of some kind, she gets an Amber Alert on her phone and realizes that she is behind the car described in the Amber Alert. And the child in the car is a kidnapped little girl, and she and the Uber driver are caught up in trying to save this girl. I thought that this movie was pretty good. I thought it was a little predictable, but both the acting and the pacing were great. This movie is filled with tension, and the writing of the two main characters is better than what we usually see in these types of movies. The characters were people that the audience actually wants to root for rather than people that you don't really care about. And I think that that is pretty special. The next movie I watched in January was The Watchers. This movie is about a woman portrayed by Dakota Fanning who gets stranded in the wilderness where she finds 3 other people. Dakota Fanning's character and these 3 other people are forced to allow mysterious creatures in the forest to observe them at night in order to survive. I thought that this movie was pretty entertaining, but it was a lot longer than it needed to be, and it was a lot more strange than I wanted it to be. The plot just kind of kept going in a way that I didn't really care for, but I did enjoy it for what it was, but I don't think that I would watch it again. Finally, I watched the movie Twisters. I really wanted to see this in theaters when it came out, but I didn't end up going. I think I saw It Ends With Us instead, which was not the best decision. But Twisters is about a girl named Kate who is called back to Oklahoma by an old friend to assist his company in chasing tornadoes. While Kate is in Oklahoma, she crosses paths many times with a man named Tyler, who is a wild and reckless social media storm chaser. I don't know about you guys, but every time I see Glenn Powell in a movie, I automatically think of Chad Radwell because Scream Queens is where I saw him first. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, there's Chad Radwell chasing tornadoes or whatever. I really enjoyed this movie. I do regret not going to see it when it was in theaters. I like Daisy Edgar Jones. I like Glenn Powell. I thought that the soundtrack was fun, and I really honestly don't have anything negative to say about this movie. I really liked it. Smile 2. In the sequel to Smile, a pop star named Sky Riley is the newest victim of the Smile Demon. I thought that this movie was so much better than the first one. Sky is a very interesting character. She's heavily flawed and complex, and I found myself rooting for her much more than the protagonist from the first movie. I still don't love the concept of the way that the Smile Demon or entity or whatever it is reveals itself, and because of that, I didn't really enjoy the end of this movie, which is why I didn't rate it higher. I rated it 3.5 stars. Up until the last 10 minutes, I thought that this movie was really good. Then I watched The Others. This is about a religious woman who lives in an old house with her 2 children, a boy and a girl, who have a rare sensitivity to light. The family begins to suspect that their house is haunted, and a series of strange events unfold from there. This movie relies more heavily on tension and character building than it does on actual scares, and I really appreciated that. I think that movies like this do a lot better of a job at getting under your skin than movies with cheap jump scares. I thought that the ending of this movie was really unsettling, and I think that it would definitely be worth checking out if you think that it sounds interesting to you. I watched the American version of Speak No Evil, which was released in 2024. Speak No Evil is a psychological thriller about an American family who befriends a British family on vacation and is invited afterwards to spend the weekend at the British family's home. And it turns out that things are not as idyllic as they seem. I haven't seen the original film, but I did find it odd that this was a remake of a foreign film that was already filmed in English in the first place. But that being said, I did think that this movie was really good, and I thought the performances were really good, and I would probably watch the original based off of what I've seen from this remake, and I would recommend it. Then I watched Sinister. Sinister is about a true crime writer who moves his own family into the house of the victims that he is writing about, and in the house he finds some old film footage in the attic that prove that the victims were killed by something sinister. I'm just gonna be honest, this movie is one of the scariest movies that I've seen in a while. This movie is scary in a way that makes your heart pound and your palms sweat, and every time that those tapes played of the victims, I just wanted to look away. I did not want to keep seeing what was going on. And if that sounds interesting to you, I would check out Sinister. Immediately after watching Sinister, my mom and I turned on The Devil Wears Prada because we needed something lighter. And oh my gosh, this movie was so good. I can't believe that I haven't seen it until now because I really like this movie. Devil Wears Prada is about a woman who gets a job working for an extremely demanding fashion designer. I don't know what else to say about it other than I loved it, and you should definitely watch it if you haven't seen it. I also watched Pretty Woman for the first time. This is about a millionaire who picks up a woman off the street and hires her to stay with him for the week during his business trip. The two get closer, and over the course of the week, they have to come to terms with how different their lives are. This is another movie that I can't believe I haven't seen until now. This is exactly the kind of movie that I would want to watch, like if I was at home sick or if I was really sad. I think that this is a good movie just to turn on, and like it's a good feel-good movie. After that, I watched Heretic. Heretic is about two Mormon missionaries who attempt to convert a man who is more dangerous than he seems. Once they become trapped in his home, they must turn to their faith if they want to make it out alive. This movie turned out differently than I expected it to turn out based off of the trailer, but I did really enjoy it. I thought that the acting was really great. I thought that Hugh Grant was so creepy. I've obviously never seen Hugh Grant do anything like this before. I know that a lot of people have talked about his performance since this movie came out, and I thought he did a great job playing this creepy guy. The two missionaries in this movie are played by Sophie Thatcher, who I think is a great actress, and Chloe East, who I've never seen in anything before, but I also thought that her performance was really good too. So overall, the three main cast members in this movie I thought did a really good job. I thought that the end of this movie was a little rushed. I thought that the explanation was a little forced just for like everything that was going on at the end. The ending unraveled a little bit faster than I think it should have. I think that the tension should have built a little bit more, and with that being said, I still would recommend it. I think that you should watch it if you think that this sounds interesting to you. Yeah, I did like it, but it wasn't as good as I hoped for it to be. And the last movie I watched in January was Charade. This is an old Audrey Hepburn movie about a woman portrayed by Audrey Hepburn who is pursued by several men who want to get their hands on a fortune her murdered husband had stolen. So Audrey Hepburn's character gets news that her husband has been murdered while she's on this skiing trip in the French Alps, and then she moves back home, and all of these men are coming after her looking for this money, and it's kind of a romance. Well, it is a romance, it's a comedy, it's a mystery, and I think that it's a very fun movie. It was way funnier than I thought it was going to be, and I would definitely check it out. For sure, definitely. This month was pretty good. I watched a lot of movies that I liked and not very many movies that I didn't like. The only movie that I didn't really like was The Watchers, which I enjoyed while I was watching, but I just wouldn't watch it again. And watching a lot of movies that you like in 1 month doesn't happen very often, so I'll take it. Okay, that's all. Bye!